What's up everybody, I'm Seth Fowler and today I'm unboxing and reviewing the brand new Nike Adapt BB. So you might be saying to yourself, where's the shoe? Well, it's right down here in this giant box. Now, full disclosure, I have already opened this pair of shoes and I've been wearing them around all day, but I wanted to rebox them and unbox them on camera because I feel like that unboxing experience is kind of one of a kind. I haven't opened a pair of sneakers like this in this sort of packaging in a very, very long time. So before we actually bust into the box, let's take a look at what's going on around outside the box. So the first thing you'll see is this thick piece of paper or cardboard cover, and on both sides it has the two circles that are the lights on the side of the shoe. On the top of the box you've got the handle and you've also got the Earl Adapt BB. And then on the front of the box you've got the size tag and all that information going on right there, including the price tag, which is $350, which honestly, compared to some of the previous self-lacing sneakers that Nike has released, is almost a bargain. And the reason I say that is because the other pair of mass-produced self-lacing sneakers that Nike dropped cost $720. So this is quite a bit cheaper. So I'm gonna start things off by pulling off this paper cover. And underneath the paper cover, you've got pretty much the same exact motif on the side of the box. Each side of the box has a little handle that you can pull out, and then you can lift off the top of the box. So the first thing you'll notice is this white paper with gray Nike swooshes, and then of course when you open up the paper, you've got the shoes inside, and man, these are fresh. So here they are, the Nike Adapt BB, and today is actually the first time that I've seen this pair of sneakers in person and actually held them, and surprisingly, they're pretty light. But we'll get back to the sneakers in a second. Let's see what else is going on inside the box. So underneath the sneakers, the next thing that you'll see is this charging pad, and it's actually underneath this piece of plastic. I actually haven't taken the charging pad out yet, so this is new for me. So on the front of the charging pad, you've got this matte black texture with these two rings to show where you're supposed to place the shoes. The back side is just gray with these rubber feet so it doesn't slide around on the table or on the floor or wherever you decide to put this. Underneath the charging pad, you've got this little metallic silver plastic bag, and inside here, I believe, are the charging cables. Yep, you've got the wall wart, which is standard, and then you've also got your USB to USB-C charging cable. I've heard that this wireless charging pad is actually a Qi wireless charging pad, which is the same technology that's used in phones, so I kind of want to see if my iPhone charges on this. Okay, so I've got the wireless charger plugged in. Here we go, moment of truth. That's sick. I expected it to be honest with you, but still pretty cool. I could charge one shoe in my phone. That's kind of cool. And then the last thing inside the box is actually the instruction manual. It tells you what the light indicators mean when you're charging. So red is charged now, orange is charged soon, yellow is plenty charged, and green is full. With these shoes, you do have to download the Nike Adapt app. I didn't actually have it downloaded when I first tried on the shoes, and they seem to work fine, but you can't really personalize the sneakers without the app. And that pretty much seems like everything inside the box. I don't think there's anything else. So why don't we jump into the review? So now to the actual review portion of the video. And like I said, I've been wearing these around all day, and I love them. Now that could just be that this is a brand new thing, and I think that's probably what it is because I'm still pretty fresh with this sneaker, but man, that is so cool. To preface this review, this video is gonna be more of an initial lifestyle review because like I said, I've only had a day so far in this shoe. I'm actually flying out for All-Star Weekend in like 4 hours, but I'm planning to only wear this sneaker on the trip and not charge it the entire time so I can test battery life and also see how it does for both lifestyle and hopefully on-court performance. So make sure to stay tuned for the follow-up video to this video, probably coming next week. So the Nike Adapt BB is technically Nike's third self-lacing sneaker that they brought to market. They released the self-lacing Nike Mags and the Hyper Adapt 1.0s from a couple years ago, but this is the first time they've released not only a sneaker that's a more reasonable price, but also a basketball sneaker with self-lacing, which is kind of nuts. I'm gonna keep doing that throughout the video. The self-lacing Nike Adapt BB retails for $350 US and releases officially on February 17th. I'm not really sure how to start the review for this sneaker because it's so different from any other shoe that I've ever reviewed. The upper of the sneaker is covered in this pretty thick plasticky mesh. Around the toe of the shoe, the mesh is black, but as you move farther up on the sneaker towards the midfoot, it gets to be a little bit more clear so you can sort of see what's going on underneath the mesh. The mesh feels pretty soft and flexible to the touch. It actually feels very similar to what you have on the Kobe 360 360, which is 360 Flyknit. I don't actually think this mesh is 360 Flyknit, but it does feel very similar to the touch. This sort of darker gray area underneath the mesh is actually where the Fit Adapt system is held. That, of course, is the lacing system, and in order to protect the lacing system, they actually made this dark gray area a lot stiffer so it can't get sort of bent or twisted. Underneath the plastic mesh, you've actually got this white fabric mesh for added breathability. However, where the Fit Adapt system is, you're not really going to get any breathability because it's sort of encased in this stiffer material. Running up the center of the shoe, you've got this sort of knit black pull tab that has these 8 silver embroidered dots. At the top of the pull tab on the right shoe, you've got the embroidered Nike swoosh, and on the left shoe, you've got Nike embroidered in silver. Even though this shoe does kind of look like it has a one-piece booty construction, underneath this plastic mesh, you do actually have a separate tongue. However, because the tongue is under the plastic mesh, you don't actually get much flex. Moving inside the shoe, you've got this incredibly well-padded black sock liner, especially around the ankle, and it really locks your foot down very nicely. On the insole of the shoe, you've got this pretty cool design that represents, I guess, the app and also the different colors that you can change the lights on the side of the sneaker to. Of course, the right shoe has R printed on it and the left shoe has L printed on it. Now getting to one of the most interesting parts of the shoe, the fit. Out of the box, this shoe does seem to fit true to size, and it also comes in half sizes, so no matter what foot size you have, you should be good to go. Of course, the main selling feature of this sneaker is the self-lacing or adaptive lacing system, and that can be adjusted in one of 2 ways. You can either use the buttons on the midsole of this sneaker, so the front button actually tightens the shoe, and this back button actually loosens the shoe. According to Nike, the sound has actually been improved over previous versions of the shoe, and I guess I hear that. I mean, to me it sounds pretty much the same, but apparently this sounds more like a music note than, a crazy loud hiss like it used to sound. If you don't feel like reaching down and tightening the shoes with the buttons on the side of the sneaker, you can also use the app. The Nike Adapt app allows you to tighten up or loosen a sneaker by just sliding up or down on that shoe's specific letter. So for example, I've got the right shoe here, I just want to tighten it up, so I'm going to slide up on the R. And then if I want to loosen it, I just slide down on the R. Another really cool thing about the lacing system and the app is that when you first get the shoe, you can actually set it up so that whenever you put your foot into the shoe, it automatically goes to your desired fit size. And if you press this button down here on the bottom right, they go back to your desired setting. In the short amount of time that I've actually worn these shoes, I've got to say the fit is pretty incredible. When you first get into the shoe, it is kind of a struggle because the initial fit is probably a little bit tighter than you'd expect. But one of the coolest things about this sneaker is that the first time you put your foot into the shoe, as soon as your heel hits the footbed, it actually tightens up automatically to where it thinks it would be most comfortable for you. Now obviously there's one thing that I'm sure a lot of you guys have been wondering about and actually kind of scares me, is what happens when the battery dies? Like, can you pull your feet out? We're honestly just gonna have to wait and see. I'm just gonna have to let this sneaker die, which apparently, according to Nike, could take up to 3 weeks. I'm not totally sure I believe that, and I would assume that's if you just tighten up the shoe and just never take it off again. I don't know, I'll just have to wear the sneaker around and find out. However, when the battery isn't dead, the shoe fits great both for lifestyle wear and I'm assuming for on-court wear. I actually do think that when the battery dies, the shoe automatically unlaces itself so you can get your feet out. Continuing back on the sneaker to the midfoot, you've got this oversized silver Nike swoosh. The Nike swoosh actually turns black and spills over onto the midsole, and then on top of the Nike swoosh, there's another much smaller Nike swoosh. I don't know why that was necessary, but hey, now you've got 2 for the price of 1. The medial side of the upper is actually left completely plain. Moving even farther back on the shoe, you've got this sort of black velvet feeling heel area. The tail of the Nike swoosh actually continues onto this panel, except it splits up into 4 silver dots. I've got to say, I don't love that dot motif. I kind of wish they had just kept it a standard Nike swoosh. I think that would have looked better. Underneath that, you've got this glossy black plastic heel counter, which does seem to lock you into the shoe pretty well. Moving down on the sneaker, you've got this white, pretty standard foam midsole. It's not incredible for impact protection, but that kind of makes sense because there's an entire battery and like electronic motor underneath your foot. I actually think the midsole is more designed to protect the electronics than it is to actually give you a more cushioned ride. On the medial side of the midsole, you've got this black Nike swoosh near the heel. And then of course, in the center of the lateral side of the midsole, you've got these 2 clear rubber buttons. Obviously, these buttons are for tightening and loosening the shoe, but the cool thing about them is that they actually have LEDs underneath them. The LEDs turn on for a couple seconds after you tighten or loosen the shoe, and then they fade out. They can also act as a battery indicator as well. So when the sneaker is about to die, they flash red. When you have them on the charger and they're charged enough to wear, they go yellow. And when you pull them off the charger and they're bright green, that means that they're fully charged. One of the coolest things about the sneaker itself, and actually also the app as well, is that you can change the color of the buttons to to pretty much any color that you want. So like if you're a Celtics fan, yuck, you can change them to green. If you're a Sixers fan, yay, you can change them to blue. If you're one of those cool guys who's a Ravens fan, you can change them to purple, which I think looks the best. Or if you just like bright red, you can go for that sort of full bright crimson look. You can pretty much set it to a full rainbow of colors. Unfortunately, you can't set it to like a timer so it changes on its own. You have to do it through the app. But in the future, I think it would be really cool if they could update it to allow for sort of a changing sequence of light colors, or even allow you to have two different colors on the same shoe. One of the very cool but very few features available on the app is that you can actually see how charged each one of your shoes is. The midsole itself is pretty stiff, obviously because there is a lot of technology going in there, but also probably because there is some sort of shank plate keeping it from twisting. Finally, moving to the bottom of the sneaker, you've got this semi-translucent blue outsole. The traction pattern does seem to be pretty plain, but I'm hoping that it will stick well because the rubber compound does seem to be surprisingly sticky. In the center of these rings, you've got these darker blue areas to indicate where the ball of the foot and the heel land. And actually, in the center of the ball of the foot, you've got this little tiny butterfly debossed into the rubber. I'm not sure why it's there, but it's an interesting little detail. Overall, the Nike Adapt BB is a very exciting brand new basketball performance sneaker from Nike. The fact that they not only created a self-lacing sneaker that has like a battery and a motor in the midsole, but also that it's playable on court and that NBA players actually play in this shoe is pretty unbelievable. I'm very excited to continue wearing this sneaker, and like I said, I'm gonna wear this to All-Star Weekend, so I'll put out a video letting you guys know how that goes. $350 is definitely a lot for a novelty, but if you're the kind of person who likes having the newest thing or the coolest thing, this is definitely a must-have. So that pretty much wraps up the video for today. Now I would love to know your thoughts on the Nike Adapt BB and whether you're planning to grab a pair for yourself, so make sure to leave those comments in the comment section down below. And as always, thank you so much for watching. Please make sure to give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, subscribe down below if you haven't yet, and I'll see you all in the next one.